Well, welcome back to Passing Conversations, and I am here again with my friend Mo. She's the mayor of Domino, and she has a husband who suffered a severe accident, and we're talking about his physical recovery and their emotional recovery and stability within their family and how things affected them. So our last segment, we left off with them being in Oklahoma, where he was originally hospitalized.
Yes.
And now they're in the story being transferred to Dallas.
Yes, so we were in Oklahoma City for roughly 4 months, and then to get us closer to home, they transferred him once he was stable enough and they weren't having to do surgery as frequently. We were transferred to the Dallas area. Mm-hmm. And once there, he was placed in a LTAC facility, long-term acute care facility, where we were for roughly 3.5 months. And there he went through a couple of procedures, primarily the left arm, and he had to have some therapy and rehab on it.
And what was going on with his left arm?
So it wasn't severed, but it was fractured in half, like it broke at the elbow. So the bottom half was no longer connected to the top half. So it was just quite literally dangling. But it was connected by muscle and tissue and skin. So they were able to go in and do a procedure by applying an internal fixator, which is a device with metal and screws, kind of like a door hinge, and hinge the elbow, the bottom half to the top half, in hopes that it would fuse back together. And then they allow that to happen over the course of 8 weeks or so. They go back in, remove it, and see the progress. There was some progress, but not enough progress to actually completely fix the elbow. So the elbow is displaced and it's still disjointed, so he doesn't have normal use of it. His fingers, after much therapy, he was able to get movement in his fingers. So there's not a lot of use with this arm. There's minimal, but it's a supporting actress, so to say, to the right hand. You know, it can kind of help hold things if needed, that sort of thing. And his right leg, same thing, except he had an external fixator, 2 of them, to try and fuse the bones back together. So we spent quite a bit of time.
Was that successful on his leg?
It was not. The leg is still non-weight bearing, so he is not able to stand, or he's actually at this point not even a candidate for a prosthesis. So because he had what they call a hip disarticulation, so there's no bone, no joint, no hip bone, nothing to even connect a prosthesis to. Now, maybe if he were a smaller man, even then it would be challenging, because there just aren't enough of those devices to aid.
Could they replace like a hip joint to help him, or is that not?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure the way technology is now, maybe they're working on something like that. But even with a prosthesis, we still have the issue of a non-weight bearing limb that is still severely fragmented. So it's just one of those unfortunate things where you just have to try and make the best of a tough situation.
So if he moves his right leg. Does that cause him pain since it's not mended?
He does have a lot of pain and swelling in that leg. The foot actually has dropped now, so that means he does not have the ability of flexion in either in the foot or the ankle bone at all. No, it's not feasible at this time. But,
oh my goodness.
But we're hopeful, you know.
Well, you never know what the future holds.
What the future holds, exactly. I mean, they're creating all kinds of robotic limbs and things of that nature.
Maybe we need to call up Elon Musk. Ask him, hey, what can you do for us, Elon?
And so, you know, at some point, you know, maybe that is something that we can look into.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be absolutely amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But I think for now, just being grateful and enjoying the quality of life that you have today. Yeah.
Well, and there's something that I want to interject here.
Okay.
You know, when you talk about quality of life, people may be looking at that like, oh, his quality of life is so diminished. But his quality of life, the love in his life and the care that you give him has far surpassed what he has lost. I mean, I know that in knowing you guys. I know that his life is better now than it ever has been. He may, you know, not have, you know, everything that everyone else has and the abilities to get up and go to work like he used to, but his life is so enriched.
You know, and I think that goes both ways. I did not realize what the monotony of getting up, going to work, coming home, repeat, you know, wash, rinse, repeat, that type of thing. I did not realize how a state of redundancy I had gotten in my own life, you know, without seeking really adding any richness or quality to my life.
I think they call that a rut.
Yes, absolutely. Not pursuing any aspirations or dreams of my own because, well, I'm comfortable here and here we are. Well, although there was an interruption, it was probably one of the most positive interruptions we could have had because it allowed us to really take a moment and appreciate not only what we were able to obtain, but what it would look like if we were to dream again. Imagine again. Because I think what the rut does, it removes your ability to exist in your own chocolate factory, so to speak. You know, where is your imagination? You know, Willy Wonka, you know.
Where's the growth?
Yeah, where is the growth? Where are you, you know, progressing, truly progressing? Because I think that's what aids in a good quality of life, is to see not just your self-growth, but to see your family grow and to see your visions come alive, to see your dreams come to fruition. Those things are important. And so, again, this interruption was not all negative.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you have such a great outlook and a comfort. You know, that it's just amazing.
Well, it's important to have, I think, because it's easy to sit in a corner and woe is me, you know. If anything bad is going to happen, it's going to happen to me.
Right.
We don't negatively curse ourselves. We don't. That's why it's important to mind your words. It's important to speak life to every situation that you face, because life is for the living. And so if you are a living vessel. You have the power to speak life into your situation. No one else is going to do that for you. You have to do it yourself. So there's the saying, you are what you eat. It's true. You also are what you say.
Mm-hmm. And what you think.
And what you think, absolutely. Because it starts here in your mind. So the scriptures actually say, so a man thinketh, so is he.
That's right.
So it is important to make sure that you're feeding yourself positivity, because when you don't do that, you find yourself in a very disjointed place. You're not usually pleasant to be around. Mm-hmm. And no one wants to be around bitter people. You know, you set up a place of bitterness in your heart.
Well, you make your dark days darker.
Absolutely.
You know, instead of calling in the light, you're bringing in the darkness.
Absolutely. And you know, and it's funny because my husband and I, we often say that a time that was meant to be super dark for us, mm-hmm. we never had the luxury, right? Because we always carried the light. And there are people, and if you know you carry a light, you know that the light gravitates, mm-hmm. and it pulls. And in most cases, it's people whose light is dim. And so you do have, I won't call it a burden, but it is a responsibility to share your light, mm-hmm. with someone, mm-hmm. who can't see it yet. You know?
Yes.
And amazing. That gives them hope. Mm-hmm. That gives them a little bit of your ambition, mm-hmm. to say, you know what, if they can do it, having faced all they faced,
right,
I can do it.
Right.
You know, so I think it is important to, you know,
count your blessings.
Count your blessings, and to, you know, move forward and give it to someone else. Pass it on to someone else. Don't gatekeep, as they say. You know, don't.
Right.
You know, I mean, love is free. Mm-hmm. You know, my mom always said, you don't owe any man anything but to love him.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the more you share love, the more love grows.
Absolutely.
Within you.
Yes.
So you receive the benefit of sharing love because love grows.
Absolutely.
So it's
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And you surround yourself with those who now carry the torch of love. And now they can pass it on to someone else, mm-hmm. and pass it on to someone else. Mm-hmm. And before long, that small seed of love that you sowed has now grown. Mm-hmm. It has now expanded to new territories. And so it's important that you understand how vital and how important your ability to love and care for someone really is. That's powerful.
And doing that will also help keep grief recovery going. It'll push away
Absolutely.
the demons.
Absolutely.
And bring in love and light.
Absolutely, because there will be times when grief seems all-consuming, mm-hmm. and you can't see your way out. Mm-hmm. But if you could just for a moment imagine the light, it's your North Star. Mm-hmm. It will lead you out of that dark place. Mm-hmm. If you can remember a kind word, if you can remember a sweet sentiment, you know, those are the things, that human connection, those things keep you moving forward, and it doesn't allow you to drown, mm-hmm. in that place of grief. Mm-hmm. Because grief is hard.
You know, it's kind of like a little sidebar, but when I was a newly married woman, mm-hmm. I was ombudsman at my husband's command. He was in the military. Mm-hmm. And one of the admiral's wives, she sent me the sweetest thank you card. And she put in there a little note that said, you know, collect Collect thank you cards. Collect things that people give you that tell you how wonderful you are, or thank you for being the person that you are. And when you're in those deep, dark moments, you can pull those things out, and it will remind you of who you are and what you've done to help other people. So I have a whole collection of cards and things.
Absolutely, because if you don't do those things, you will lose yourself.
Right.
And when you find yourself, as you just stated, in that place of darkness, you'll forget who you are.
Yes.
And if you forget who you are, you're going to waste so much time, so much energy trying to recover from that moment.
Just trying to reclaim
reclaim, exactly, who you are. And so that has been very important for me. And it has been a challenge for me to remember who I am and whose I am. Because it is that keeps me and gives me the fortifying power to just keep going.
Well, and you're in a great family. You know, your sister is just the sweetest person. Your brother, now that is a golden man. He is. He will serve and love everyone in the community. He's just a fabulous person. So you have a great network of support.
Yes.
You know, and all of you love and serve God, and love and serve each other.
Absolutely.
And love and serve the community.
Absolutely.
So, you know, you're a powerhouse, a wealth of light and love for everyone. So it's a good place. Even though you were in a difficult place, it's a good place for you because you have so much wonderful support.
It is, and you know, and it's a great responsibility. But when you realize why you've been given the responsibility, because not everyone can handle it. And when you realize how special you must be to God for Him to want to use you in that way, that means the world to me. Because it has nothing to do with me, but it has everything to do with my ability to be yielded to a power greater than myself.
Well, and the great thing, another wonderful thing about you, you know, is that you were in a place of just terrible hurt and pain, but you had the responsibility of helping your husband through this.
Absolutely.
You know, and so you're not just dealing with your grief of loss, you know, your expectations of life. You're having to deal with his loss of expectations of life and the expectations together.
Absolutely.
You know, and so that's a lot to overcome. It's not just something that happens.
Absolutely. It is a process, and anyone who tells you anything different, they're not telling you the truth. It is a process because it is a decision to be selfless.
And that's key. Selfless.
It is. You have to be able to relinquish your immediate wants, needs, and desires and replace them by making a sacrifice to make sure that someone that you love also gets to still share in those experiences.
Well, you're prioritizing that person you love.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
Instead of that, and that's the great thing about marriage. You know, and I know that we actually taped this earlier, but it wasn't taping, so we're retaping it. And I don't know if this is on the tape, but you know, with marriage, where you have you and your husband, and the two of you are so strong together with your love, what you've gone through, but you know, you have Christ in your marriage, and that's the strength. It makes the pyramid or the triangle, which is the strongest structure physically. And it just grows and grows. But you have so many triangles in your life. You have you and your husband in Christ. You have you and your sister and your brother. And then so if you have the three of you like this up here above you, you have Christ. So now you have three triangles. So it's just, you have such a loving and beautiful life, a spiritual life.
And that's because I am intentional about the relationships I form. I'm intentional the way I present myself to the world. I show myself friendly because not only does scriptures teach us to do so, it is an integral part of who I am. There are enough mean people in the world. I choose not to be one.
Wow, that is so powerful.
You have to choose. You have to make up in your mind, this is how I want to present in the earth. I want people to feel welcome and comforted when they encounter me. And not everyone is comfortable with someone like this, right? Because they're so accustomed to the other.
Right.
But love covers all. I believe that.
And conquers
I believe that. So even someone, I've seen it. People who are mean and bitter, and you are consistent with your love and care toward them, I see their hearts begin to change. That's the hope. That is the light. That is what it's going to take in a world where everyone's so independent of each other. But that's a falsehood that we've created.
That's true.
When we're born, we come here crying because we need a mom. We need someone. We were created to need each other. And so to think that you can be an island in this vast world is an illusion.
That's true. In today's society, especially younger people,
Absolutely.
Everything is about their celebrity, their popularity,
Absolutely.
who they are, what they are, their likes and dislikes, and what they're going to recommend to you and everything. But don't you find that your love and your genuineness is disarming? Like somebody, some people come up and they're ready for a fight, and then you're not fighting. They don't know how. They're just like,
they don't know how to take it.
No, and it's disarming, and it helps them to be a better person.
Absolutely.
I've seen it. I've witnessed that with you. I've seen that happen. Where people are shocked by it.
They almost expect you to be combative, but that is not my first nature.
No.
I lead with love. And I think if more of us adopted that attitude, we would be better off as a society, as a people.
Everyone wants to be loved.
Everybody desires it.
Absolutely. And you invite them to come into love because you have so much to give.
Absolutely.
It's there. And so people are just naturally drawn to you, because of that. So it's an amazing quality.
And it's one of those things where if you don't experience love from me, you've made a choice that you don't want it. You've made a choice that you just don't want it. But and that's very okay. But it doesn't change the availability.
Exactly.
It's there. But now you get to determine if you want to receive it or not. So, and it's just like with our Father, we have to choose above all. We have to choose Him above all else.
Right, and it is absolutely 100% our choice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because he doesn't force us.
Right.
That's how much he loves us. A forced love isn't love. Let's be clear.
That's true.
So you give it, and you give it freely, and you'll receive it. So I believe that with my whole heart. So I guess the takeaway here is, while grief is inevitable, love is too.
Oh, that's perfectly stated. It was beautiful. Well, thank you, Mo, for being here. And that's a little bit of more of the story. I mean, there's more.
Yes.
We'll do another segment, but thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You have so much to share, so much love to give, but so much knowledge and insight to share. It's just,
Thank you.
You are a wealth, just a wealth of angelic qualities.
So sweet. You're so kind. Thank y'all for
I
having
love
me.
you. Well, please like and subscribe to our channel, Passing Conversations, and watch for Mo's next segment. Thank you.